Hi guys, welcome back to Scrapping Scotland. I'm going to do a little video today on the old tradition of plug soup. What is plug soup, you may ask yourself? Well, plug soup is the formula for taking the brass out of your electric plugs. You'll notice if you do any scrapping of electronics, you get a lot of plugs, an awful lot of them. And what do you do with them? Do you stick them in your shred, get very minimal money from that, or do you extract the brass pins? There is copper in there as well, so it's not just brass. Personally, I extract the brass pins. Now, I haven't been scrapping for years and years and years, and I seem to do things the hard way, and taking apart plugs is the vein of my existence. It just takes forever. I haven't found a fantastic way to do it, so I did a lot of online research, try to find best ways to take these plugs apart, and came across some really interesting videos. And plug soup was really the outcome of those videos. So plug soup is the formula of basically putting plugs in a boiling pan of water, softening up the rubber, the plastic, and making it a lot easier to then extract the plugs, the brass from the plugs. Now, as I say, I had a look online. Best video I found, and I think there's a lot of videos out there if you actually look for them, but I'm interested in British plugs, so I just wanted to give a shout out to Ian Matthews, one of the scrappers that I follow. Done a good video on scrapping plugs, so I thought I'll do one myself as well. May not be as detailed as his one, and he seems to have a lot better setup than I do in terms of putting his plugs in a furnace boiler, which seems very effective. Good work on that one, Ian. So I'm just going to put mine in a pan of water, stick it on the stove, let it boil, simmer for about an hour, and we'll see what results we get of that. Okay, so the first things first was to get the plugs. I'll take you through the kind of plugs I have and show you kind of what I've done for prep. So here's my pile of plugs. I've not counted them, and you know what guys, I'm not going to count them either, so can't be bothered with that. All I'm interested in is getting the brass out of it. But as you can see, nice little pile of plugs there, yeah. I've already removed the fuses. Now these fuses, what I would say is, I keep them because there's silver plated ends on them. Okay, maybe I can sell these online or something like that as well to anyone that recovers and processes silver. Okay, so got a big pile of these, never throw them away, I keep them all. Okay, so that's just one thing to be aware of. The plugs themselves, so you get these ones, which are the kind of silver looking ones. They are still copper, but they're nickel plated copper, so that's just something to be aware of. I'm not sure the scrapyards if they take that as dirty brass or if they'll give you a full brass price for that, but just to be aware that obviously that is nickel plated, so they could give you a dirty brass price for that. Okay, the best ones are obviously the proper brass, no plating, just pure brass. Okay, and those ones obviously you get more for if it's not dirty, so I would recommend that you separate your brass from your nickel plated brass. Okay, if you get a lot of brass from things like taps, faucets, whatever you call them, you'll notice that it's still brass, but they're either chrome plated or nickel plated or whatever it may be, and it's the same thing. So same sort of thing with plugs. You just get these ones, obviously these plugs that are not plated, and they will be the ones that fetch top dollar in terms of brass prices. Your nickel plated stuff is still brass, but as I say, it will fetch slightly less because we'll class it as dirty brass. Okay, this is a traditional British plug, the 3-prong. Okay, you'll see these all the time. Do contain a nice main prong there of quite thick copper, as you can see. And these, in terms of the weight, adds up really quickly when you've got these. Not all of them have this top one as brass. You do get ones that are just plastic, because the power feeds from these two really. This one isn't always brass. Okay, and I'll show you that one here. So I've got another plug here, as you can see. Yeah, that is not brass, it's plastic. Okay, there's a little bit of metal inside it, but it's just steel, it's not brass. Okay, but you can see the little inserts inside here that hold the fuse. Those are nice clean brass. Yeah, it's not dirty brass. Okay, the problem with these plugs is that they're all molded plastic, yeah, or rubber, and they're very, very difficult to take apart. Sometimes I get my snips on these sides and then into that side and basically break the plug, plastic, rip off the outer rubber, but it takes forever, ends up hurting your hands, and it's just not a viable way to take apart a lot of plugs. If you're doing one or two, you know, and doing them as you get them, then, you know, it's fine. But to do an amount, a load like this, I recommend, well, I say I recommend plug soup, but I've never done it myself, so that's what I'm going to try, because there's no way I'm sitting pulling all these apart by hand without, you know, it being a little bit easier than what I thought it would be by manually just ripping them apart. So that's the plugs. I do have a little American plug in there as well. It's a more kind of traditional plug you'll find in America. I do see a lot of guys just taking these apart by pliers, sticking this in a vise and ripping these ones out, which is fine. Yeah, I think this seems to be a good method, good way of doing it. But I'm still going to put that into the water and hopefully soften up that rubber and just make it that slightly bit easier to take apart. You will find that most of the plugs nowadays are these molded plugs. Plugs never used to be like this. They all used to have kind of screws to take them apart. I do have a plug here, and this shows you actually it's the only one I've got sitting in this pile that's got screws in it, so it shows you the kind of ratio now in terms of the molded plug versus ones that have the screws. This one is actually an adapter. It's not a proper plug, but the principle is the same in terms of you take the screw out, you can open it up, you know, it'll open up there in the middle and you can get to the brass nice and easy. You can just give them a little tap and they'll pop through and you'll be able to take them off easy. This is an adapter, as I say, slightly different from a plug, but again, same principle, screw plug. Yeah, nice and easy to take apart, no hassle, hard plastic. Sometimes inside as well they'd have a little kind of brass insert. If they're all like this, it would make your life really easy, but unfortunately that is no longer the way of the world. So now they're all pain in the butt, yeah, in terms of these molded ones. So let's get these into a pan, get them on the boil, and we'll leave it for an hour or so, and then we'll come back to it and we'll see if it softens it up and if it's easier to take these apart. Okay guys, so as you can see we're off and running with the old plug soup, just like Mama used to make. Some new definition on Scotch broth. Okay, we'll get the lid on it because that's the biggest pot I had, and it's probably not big enough to cover all the plugs up fully. So I'm hoping putting on the lid will yeah, just help a little bit in terms of softening up the ones that are not fully immersed into the water. Okay, so we're going to leave this for an hour and then I will come back and see if it's softened up the plugs and we can remove that brass beauty. Okay, see you in a bit. Whilst we're waiting on our plug soup boiling up and softening the other plugs, just wanted to cover off these little plugs. You traditionally find these kind of plugs on lawnmowers, that kind of thing, strimmers, lawnmowers. They're not the moulded plug. You see, it's hard plastic, but they also don't have the screws, so they're slightly different from the two plugs that we've already been talking around. Now, the best way to get the brass from these would be, because it's hard plastic, stick it on a hard surface, smash it with a hammer. Yeah, that's probably the best way to do with it. But as I'm in the house, my little daughter's in her bed, I'm not going to start making a lot of noise and smashing stuff with hammers. So you can I could either wait until I'm out to the workshop and do it then, or I can just take it apart manually, because I don't think putting them in the plug soup would soften them up as good as the kind of rubber moulded ones. Now with these, probably for me, the best way is just, because it is a traditional kind of top and bottom as the screwed ones are, probably the best way is just to wedge something in and then crack it open. Okay, so give that a bash, see if we can do that. Just try and stick it in this bit here. Because I imagine it's just kind of clipped in a little bit. So we've got it open a little bit there, as you can see. Just try and work our way around it. There we go, that's kind of top side off. Again, just working our way around. Probably 4 clips. And there we go. Okay. Back plate off. And there's our plug. Okay, so these pieces now should be easy enough to extract and pull out. You could stick them in your plug soup if you wanted like that. It'd probably soften that up and make that easier to pull through. But again, even a pair of snips just at the edge there, release that piece. Yeah, nice and easy to get that one. So that's one of the 3 in terms of breaking off the outer layer. There's a different one. We'll try and do the same thing. Obviously wedge it into this area here. Hopefully we'll have the same outcome. Sounding good, yeah. So it has got into it a little bit. See again if we can work our way around this one. There we go. I think we only needed to take half of it and then we can just pull the rest of it off. And again, that's us into that one. Okay, so a matter of seconds really. Didn't take long to do that. With these ones as well, sometimes you can just push them right through. So you can see here, you can just now push that right through, pull it out. Same with the other ones, push them through and pull them out. Yeah. Now these ends on them as well can be copper. I don't separate them, I stick it all in a brass pile. Okay, let me know if you do separate. Okay, so we'll just pull the extension cord part off it. Obviously a little piece here as well. So not just our pins, the other little pieces in there. Okay, there's the insides of that plug. So there's plug number 2 out of 3. Last one, just the white one. Again, similar kind of idea is that we've got a bit we need to crack open. This one's a bit higher up in terms of the plate. Oh, we'll snap the plug in half there. Okay, and as I say, with these type of plugs, put them on a hard surface and smash them. This is not the most ideal way to do it, but it's the way I'm trying to do it to be as quiet as possible while my daughter's sleeping. But there you go. Okay, and there's the inside of that one. Let's see as with these ones as well. Do they just push out? Yes, they do. Some take a little bit more force than others. They're coming. Let me just give them a little tap. And then can we just pull that out with the pliers, possibly? Yeah, there's one. I've already got that top one out. This last one seems to be a little bit tighter, but we'll get them. Not through any ease though, unfortunately. So look, he doesn't want to come out, this guy. Okay. Finally. Okay, that's that one out. And then there's a little piece inside still that held in the fuse, which is that piece. Okay, so just wanted to show you that was another kind of type there of plug, and as you can see, still a bit of effort involved in terms of manually extracting the brass from those ones without kind of softening up the plastic, but yeah, not all of them are soft rubber. Some of them are these hard plastic ones, so just be aware of that when you're taking them apart. Different methods for different plugs. Okay, next, as I say, we'll get on to the ones that are the moulded plugs. Okay folks, we are an hour in. These little babies have been cooking up for the last 60 minutes. So we're going to check them out and see if they're soft enough just to pull out the brass ends. Okay, so I'm going to switch this off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this back through with me to the living room, and I'm going to leave the plugs in the water. I'm not just going to take them all out at the moment. I'm going to leave them in there and just take them out kind of one by one. Hopefully, as I'm doing that, they'll be nice and soft and I can easily just pull out the brass pieces. But we'll see. That is the experiment. Okay, so let's get them through and start trying to take these apart. Alrighty, so we've got our plug soup here, got our snips. Crappy snips at that, look at that handle almost coming off. And we've got a set of pliers. Okay, so let me set the camera up a little bit better so we can see us taking this stuff out. See how we go. Hopefully it's nice and easy and I've not just wasted the last hour boiling up some plugs. Okay, so let's grab one that's actually quite far in the water, because that should give us a good indication on how this is going to go. Okay, so I'm just going to hold it with one set of snips. As you can see, my snips here, hold it there. I'm going to try and pull off the top one with the pliers. See how we go. Oh, that was absolute gravy. Yeah, beautiful. I didn't actually expect it to be that easy, but that actually just came out so quick and easy, it was unbelievable. Okay, so because I want to now try and take this centre hard plastic area out all in one go, hold the plug with the pliers, turn it around a bit, and we'll try and pull this end out. This might take out the whole plastic piece. In fact, that's kind of what I'm hoping to do. I maybe should have taken the big one first. Oh, you can see the rubber's coming off it fairly easy, which means it is nice and soft. Actually, I can probably just pull that off with my hand, but yeah, not really. What I should have done was try and take this bit out before I took the top one out, because there'd have been some leverage. Whereas here, I've got very little leverage. There's nothing to pull against other than to try and grip. Oh, there we go. Give it a bit of a twist and it actually comes out a little bit better. Okay, so let's try that with this one as well. There we go. A little bit of a twist, it comes out. Okay, now the only thing is that inside, you can see that we've still got these other prongs in here, okay? So we still need to get out the centerpiece. Okay, so you're still really going to have to try and take off the rubber, but as I did say, it is a lot easier to do that with these nice soft plugs than it would have been without actually softening them up. So let's just see if we can get it, how easy we can get this piece out. The bit that's kind of more difficult than any other bit to get off is the bit that connects it to the wire, this bit at the bottom. But that's fine, we'll just pull it off. So far it's not been the quickest thing to do, but I can guarantee you that is 3, 4, 5 times as fast as it would have been without boiling it up. Okay, so I still want to get to the brass piece in here. To do that, I can just excuse me, just cut a little snips here and there, so we can try and break off that piece, the outer piece. I'm sure once I've done a few of these, I'll figure out the best method. This is obviously my first one, so it's just about figuring what is the best method to get this centre piece out, because the prongs themselves seem really easy to get out. Okay, so that's all the hard plastic off it, and it's just a case of releasing these little prongs now from the rubber. So it's taking a little bit of effort. It's a little kind of cross section here that seems to be keeping it in. I could just try and kind of cut through that bit and pull it through, which is kind of what I did there. Okay, that bit needs cleaned up a little bit with the rubber on it, but essentially that side out. And then we'll just do the same with the other side. And pull it out. There we go. There's the other piece. Put it there. And then there's a little additional piece, as you can see. Yep, little kind of brass strip there. We'll get that out as well. So what I would say, if you're doing brass soup, if you're doing plug soup and you're just pulling out the prongs, be aware, yeah, there's other little bits of brass in there as well. Okay, so just clean these bits up a little bit. Take the little bits of rubber off it. As well, see with these plastic bits, I cut all that off. So what I'm presenting is nice clean brass. Okay. Not having it being downgraded. Okay, I'll come back to that because there's loads of stuff loads of plugs to get through. So we'll come back to that. So nice clean bits I'll put in with my nice clean little brass pile. And the bits that need a little bit of additional cleanup, we'll just put it the other side so we can get to them later. Okay, so let's go for the next one. And as I said, this time what we'll try and do is try the bottom bit first to see if it actually pulls out the centre piece of plastic. Well, nope, because the top bit still comes off. Okay, that's fine. It's not a problem. Again, we'll just clamp down on that piece. Ooh, that bit nearly took it all out. There we go, just a little bit of assistance. Sorry, some of that's not on camera. I'm trying to do it all on camera, but I don't really have the space here. Okay, so remove that piece from the rubber. Okay, again needs a little bit of cleanup, so we'll put that to one side. There's the rubber piece. Okay, with all the prongs kind of out of it with one pull. You can bin that, and that leaves us this piece. Okay, this particular one, you can't just push these prongs through, so a little bit of work just to get these out, but a lot less work than having to take the whole plug apart. Okay, so as you can see, nice bit of copper wire still attached to that as well. We're not going to lose that. Okay, we'll put that one to one side. We'll come back and try another one. I'm going to try one that was actually sitting more around the top, just to see how it's affected it, and to see if actually it needed to be deeper into the water and completely covered by the water to actually soften up. So again, not much force, and we've got that piece out. The main prong. Taking the rubber off this seems to be really nice and simple. And as I say, you know, before we softened it up with the hot water, that was a difficult piece. So we just get this rubber off of it. Not as easy as just pulling it off with my hands, unfortunately. I need the snips. That's what the snips are here for. Help us with that. Okay, so there's the rubber outer casing removed, and then kind of like I showed earlier on with the other plugs, we can just get a little wedge in here and wedge that out. Okay, there's the hard plastic outer case. Okay, there's the inside. It does have a bit of rubber still around that. That should be easy enough just to pull off. As it should be nice and soft with the water. Okay, just like that. So there again is our plug. Again, this particular one, we are going to have to kind of cut the edge of that one to pull that out, or we can just kind of hold it. We'll try and hold it and see if we can get that out. I just want to release this little piece first. There we go. Okay, nice little bit of copper wire on the end of it as well. Still a little tiny piece of brass in here that I can see. So let's get that out as well. Okay, and that again is attached to the copper wire. Okay, put that to one side. This bit's for the bin, just a bit of rubber. And this piece, let's see if we can actually just pull these pieces off, yeah? So not easily, it is breaking the kind of plastic rubber area. It's not just coming off nice and easy. But again, easier to clean up this piece than it certainly would have been to try and take the whole plug apart with a set of snips and pliers. So I'm still quite pleased that this is going to save me a bundle of time. As I say, if you're just going to get the prongs, you'll probably find this a little bit easier. And you can just kind of twist and snap the prongs out. I'm trying to recover all the brass from the plug, every single piece. Okay, so it just does mean that it's a little bit more work and effort involved. But what I would say, guys, is that I think proves that actually softening it up works a treat. Yeah, definitely works. So plug soup is the way to go. Softens up the plugs and makes it really easy to pull out those brass prongs, especially that top prong. A little bit of force, not even much force to be honest, and it comes right out. The other two as well, depending on the plug, the other two prongs can come out nice and easy. Takes a little bit more effort to get the little tiny bits of brass that's still inside the plug, and those are the bits that basically the prongs insert into and attach to the power cord, the wire, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, hopefully that one was useful for you guys. Thanks for watching. As I say, if you're gonna scrap out your plugs, plug soup. Okay, you've been watching Scrapping Scotland with the Scottish Scrapper. Thanks as always for watching. See you next time.